Hello everyone. This week's topic is how to become more emotionally self-sufficient or self-reliant. I feel like this links nicely to my video from last week where we looked at how to overcome the fear of emotional intimacy, because once we make ourselves emotionally vulnerable and open, then we also need to learn that if the other person isn't there to receive that openness and support us, that we will be okay without anyone's help. We can self-soothe and rely on ourselves to get us through whatever we're going through. We've got enough awareness and skill to understand what's happening and to get a hold of our emotions and be able to deal with the situation at hand. If you haven't been to my page, welcome. I'm Hamasa. I look at emotional well-being as well as personal development, day-to-day issues, and just overall mental health topics. Please do subscribe to my page so that you're up to date with all my content. So I'm going to give you guys some quick tips and ways for you to realize and understand that when that burst of emotion comes over, or that when you're feeling a little bit anxious, that you quickly look for other people to make you happy or bring you back to your normal self. If you find that you heavily rely on your partner to make you happy, if you find that when you open up and your emotional needs are not met the way you want them to be met, then you feel very, very sad. Or that when you're lonely, you have to distract yourself. You cannot be in your own company. You constantly complain about people, and you just always tend to rely heavily on your relationship to make you feel better, to bring you happiness, to bring you fulfillment. And if this is the sort of thing that you kind of do, there's a number of things, but this is just some of them, then you are probably not very self-sufficient when it comes to regulating your emotions. And so there's a number of things that we can do to become more self-sufficient in our emotions, be able to self-regulate and be able to self-soothe when we're feeling all over the place. Sometimes when we're at work and something triggers us really badly and that surge of emotions come over, that we're able to get a hold of ourselves without having to run to the phone, call your partner, call your best friend, call someone, complain, moan, and just oh my God, I need you here, I feel so bad. Because to be honest, I've also been guilty of that. That's exactly what I used to do. Whenever something bad came my way, first thing I'd do is call my close group of friends, and I would just tell them all, fill them all in one by one about what the horrible day I was having and how stressed I am and da-da-da. And it's taken me a long time to be aware of that and work on it and understand that I need to regulate my emotions before jumping on the phone and complaining. I still do that with my best friend. She's used to me doing that. She knows how to calm me down. But when it comes to my other friends, or just even with her, now I can look at the situation, judge it, see how I feel, the part I've had to play, a lot of self-reflection, and what the person that's upset me has done, and why they've done it, the context they've done it in. And then I call her to kind of reflect back with her and get feedback on what I already kind of know, made a decision on. It's not that phone call of, oh my God, so-and-so is so annoying and I'm so angry right now and I don't know what to do, which is what I used to do before. Guilty. So, what are the tips that we need to get there? The first thing I'd say is to start spending some time by yourself and facing those emotions. We don't know what's under there if we're constantly distracting ourselves. So the more time you spend with yourself, the more you're able to feel certain things and then look at those wounds and be able to regulate those emotions and calm the triggers down. That's one of my first things for you to be overall emotionally self-sufficient. But if you're at workplace or somewhere that your emotions instantly come over, then there's a couple questions that you need to ask yourself to see if you're just overreacting. And one of them for me is whether I'm hangry, because if I don't eat, I am so incredibly snappy. So make sure that you've had a good night's rest, you're well hydrated, you've moved your body, you're not hungry, you've eaten, And then when it's still very, like, if you've done those things and you're still feeling very ratty and agitated, then see that you could call a friend for some support and then just talk about how you feel rather than lashing out. But if the emotion isn't like an outburst and it's overall you want to be able to be more control of your emotions, then, like I said, spending some time with yourself is very important. Meditating, again, lets you look into your emotional well-being and kind of declutter and emotionally cleanse yourself. Because we do that with our bodies, we detox, we work out and we diet and we do all these things to cleanse our bodies. But what are we doing to cleanse our minds and cleanse our emotions? So meditating is a good way of doing that. When you cleanse and you get rid of all these hidden wounds and things you haven't healed, then you are facing those things that are worrying you and you're clearing them out. And therefore someone else won't be able to trigger that, or it's not something that you would project onto people in the future. My other point would be to take responsibility. There is nothing more empowering than taking ownership and being confident enough to step forward and say, you know what, this is where I went wrong. The minute you start doing that, you are now taking that weight off. And it doesn't mean that you go around blaming yourself when it's someone else's fault, but also there's always two sides to every story, and you need to understand that you also had a role to play for it to escalate to that. And your role might be really small or really big, but take ownership of that. And by taking ownership, you're taking your power back. Why would you put it on other people? That's giving them that power, that they have the power to trigger you to that extent. No. Understand that your pain doesn't come from anywhere else but your own wounds and the part that you played or how you allowed someone else to treat you. So this is your responsibility. Next thing would be journaling. By journaling, obviously I mentioned this in my videos before, but journaling will help you look at things in an intellectual way. So writing things down and making sense of them logically will help you understand. So by meditating, you're looking at your emotions, and by journaling, you're looking at your intellectual. And combining those two together will just help you get a better understanding of yourself. And lastly, understand that having a good network of friends or support group that will tell you exactly how it is and not sugarcoat things and enable you is very important. Because even if you are able to self-regulate and self-soothe and be self-sufficient emotionally, you still need someone to be able to then talk back about it and just have someone to listen to so you could get it off your chest. Being self-sufficient and self-aware doesn't mean that you're constantly always perfect and you know what to do. It just means that even when you mess up, you can fix it again. So by needing some emotional support from a trusted friend isn't you running to them and relying on them, it's you kind of dealing with it and then talking it through to be able to close it and move on. I hope you found these tips helpful. For me, being able to control my emotions and be emotionally self-sufficient, emotionally aware, not being scared of emotional intimacy has really, really helped me come a long way. It's really improved the quality of my relationships, the quality of how people treat me, my perception of my self-worth. So I feel like it's incredibly important for us to be able to have a better understanding of ourselves and regulate things that we're not that great at. Our weaknesses, look into them. Why are other triggers have such an empowering effect on us that we react in a certain way and can't self-regulate? At the end of the day, we are a whole by ourselves and we can fulfill ourselves, and we don't need anyone else for that. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to my channel, like and comment on this, and share it with someone who might find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys here again next week. Mwah.